Alrighty, this is 91.7 The Edge, WSUW Whitewater, and today we have the last live show back. We're going to be marching into new content with stuff that is just been released or has going to be upcoming to be released. So we're going to have everybody introduce themselves again. So we'll start from my left here and kind of just go through. We do have a new person with us, so this will be fun.
All right, hello, I'm Ryan Brom. My major is Media Arts and Game Development, and my minor is Creative Writing.
Hello, my name is Alec Toney. I major in Media Arts and Game Development, and my minor is Art Studio.
Hello, my name is Cole, and my major is Electronic, and I like video games.
My name is Chase Brigham, and I am going for a Media Arts and Game Development major.
Awesome, and as always, I am Ben. And I'm also a Media Arts and Game Development major, minoring in Web Development. So our first topic today is going to be the new Borderlands game, Tiny Tina's Wonderland, which is coming out on March 25th. There's a new trailer that just came out, or not just came out, did come out on YouTube. We're going to start with some thoughts on what you guys thought about the trailer. Some things that I noticed, it had very unique mechanics with magic and weapons. So I do want to talk a little bit about that and also the art style. So let's just go ahead and whoever wants to start can go ahead and start with it.
I can start. So my thoughts on the trailer was I saw that there was going to be classes how Dungeons and Dragons has different play styles and fighting styles and different classes like that. There's going to be that in the Borderlands theme. Just like they did with their, basically it's based off their, I think, D&D DLC they had for Borderlands 2, but it's going to be a full released game with all the magic and stuff from warlocks and stuff, but you can multi-class into, half barbarian or something, half warlock maybe. This is all from the trailer that I saw, and I think it's pretty cool to be able to multi-class, and because in past games you're not able to fully multi-class. You only could go into 3 different tiers of your character. Mm-hmm. So I think it's a cool way to add more content to it and more variety.
Awesome, yeah. Anybody else's thoughts?
Okay. So, I don't consider myself that big with Borderlands series, so for the magic and the guns, it's kind of cool to see magic. It's neat to see that. Although, I feel like you guys, since I'm pretty sure you guys play Borderlands, you probably know the guns more than me. But I feel like that the guns that I see in the trailer are pretty underwhelming. Oh man, this is supposed to be wacky adventure series about getting guns, and most of the guns are kind of boring. They're nice guns, but it's these are kind of tame. Compared to something like, say, Ratchet and Clank or Saints Row, they have a lot more interesting guns. For Saints Row series, you gotta use standard, machine guns, but then you have, a gun that shoots sharks, and then you just, launch a shark to eat another person. It's feel like, for a game series about getting guns, especially since it's a fantasy setting, so you're allowed to be more creative, it's kind of underwhelming what they do with that.
I definitely kind of agree. I was watching the trailer, and some of the weapons were kind of confusing to me. They had weird, they fired weird, or some of them just looked kind of like general weapons that you see in kind of any game. But yeah, that's a good point.
There's something I want to just come out and say is that I am surprised that I have not heard about this until recently, because now after hearing about it and watching the trailer, it makes me want it. I'm a big Dungeons and Dragons fan. So I feel like if they play into that gimmick a lot, then it'll be entertaining for me at least.
Yeah, for sure.
Well, first expectations for the trailer. The first thing I noticed was the music, which is Baby Metal. It's a J-rock group, and Baby Metal is specifically an all-female band, and it really fits the Tiny Tina character well because she is a 13-year-old kid, but she's also very unstable and loves explosives, and the energy from that music, it really fits well with Tiny Tina's personality.
Of course, yeah. So what are our expectations for this game? Is there, from out of anybody who has played Borderlands or maybe hasn't played Borderlands that kind of wants to play this game now after viewing the trailer, what are some of our expectations for this game? Cole, I saw that you wanted to say something.
Yeah, like, even though I wasn't planning on getting this game, I think this game is probably going to do well, like the other Borderlands games, but it's like, my expectation is like, I feel like for a kid like Tiny Tina, like, it's not really that wacky before. Like, the most wacky thing that I've seen from the trailer is the unicorn stuff that appears every now and then, and sometimes you have like standard fantasy creature that's dancing. Like, I know in the trailer, I did like how you have a piece of Cheeto that was blocking the area, and you know, she just pick it up and eat it, and like, there was a river of like orange soda, but other than that, it's like, for a kid like Tiny Tina, like, I mean, you guys probably more familiar with Tiny Tina, so who knows how in character or out character this will be, but I feel like it's kind of a boring D&D adventure because like, I listen to some D&D games and I know what crazy stuff that can happen in those games. So I feel like, even though obviously this is more a fantasy adventure, but it's kind of a boring fantasy adventure with every now and then you get like a wacky stuff,
Right.
which at most is just the unicorn thing, and then you just have like characters with like the MCU quips, which you know is like, I mean, it kind of get annoying sometimes. It's
Yeah.
probably gonna play like Borderlands, but like, you know, like the Borderlands 2 DLC, but more of it.
Sure.
So I want to. My expectations for it, like knowing the Borderlands series, is going to be a lot of references. It's going to have some funny moments. It's going to have different variety of guns because you guys were talking about how boring the guns looked in the trailer, and sometimes guns are boring, but like during quests and stuff, they name the guns within with different descriptions, which are all either references or part of each side quest or quest. And the fact that they have melee weapons for once in the Borderlands series is a really cool feature for the entire game, because as far as I can recall playing through all of them, I don't recall any melee type weapons introduced in the game.
Cool. Yeah. You guys over here, you got it?
Yeah, so I just wanted to say visually, I think it looks pretty beautiful. I really like the Borderlands kind of art style. But as for the gimmick of like Dungeons and Dragons, D&D, right? I feel like if they play into the role very well, then the game will be successful for like people who play it. But my fear is that people will kind of like overlook this D&D stuff and it'll just be another Borderlands game. Things like the Cheeto in the trailer on the board, I thought that was kind of funny. And if they do more stuff like that, I feel like that would be good for the game.
My expectations, yeah, I'm definitely kind of expecting it to be kind of similar to Tiny Tina's Assault on Dragon's Keep, which was the first kind of Tiny Tina game in the series. I really hope that it doesn't really do the same thing though, because Tiny Tina's Assault on Dragon's Keep kind of loosely followed Borderlands 2's story. Like, it was like parallels in between the two, and you could kind of connect characters to other characters. And I hope that maybe the story will be a little bit more different than, like, let's say Borderlands 3, since that was like the latest Borderlands release, and maybe something a little bit more original besides kind of taking a story from one game and kind of changing it up a little and saying, okay, we can send it out now.
Okay, yeah. Yeah, kind of for me, my expectations for this game are not incredibly high, but high enough because I did getting to play most of the Borderlands. PlayStation a while back had, you know, the PS Plus Borderlands Handsome Collection, so I got to play through that, and I thought it was incredibly interesting. I think I'd play through it again if I had the time, but it was one of those ones that I wouldn't necessarily make a lot of time for. And if this game is going to be, I'm not sure of like how the other games are, but if this game is going to be anywhere similar to the Assault on Dragon's Keep, I think they definitely should stray away from maybe even tying it into the campaign games at all. Just having it has its own, not as its own series, but almost like
Yeah,
that.
something a little bit more original than
Exactly,
kind
yeah.
of, you know,
But-
drawing parallels from
Right.
a series.
Like going off of what Ryan said with the art style and like the visuals, I love how abstract Borderlands is. Their characters are incredibly unique. to that game specifically, which leads me to one of our favorite characters, Claptrap. What are some of our favorite quotes from this guy? You know, what are we thinking?
Okay, so as soon as I knew we were going to talk about this, I knew what I was going to say, and it was, so I like fourth wall breaks, and Claptrap does this a few times, and one of the times he says, "You're talking to me, and I don't even have an exclamation point over my head. This is the best day of my life," because, you know, it's like, if an exclamation point's over your head, it's like you have a quest, you know?
Right.
So, I like that one. That's good.
That's a good one, yeah.
I mean, I find it kind of incredible that Claptrap was essentially kind of a last-minute addition to the Borderlands series. He wasn't originally supposed to be in the game. And just kind of like the humor that he delivers is amazing. I think my favorite quote would be, "Oh well, now to slip back into the warmth Christmas sweater that is my depression." and I think that was in Borderlands 2. I can't remember exactly.
Okay, yeah.
But
So these, does he just say these randomly, some of these randomly, or do you actually have to go up and interact in order for him to say a couple of them?
So I know for mine, you have to like talk with him, and it'll prompt him to say this, but sometimes he just talks.
yeah, if he's like on a quest with you, he will say things like that for sure. And if he has a quest for you, yeah, he'll say like all these wacky things.
All right, cool. How about your favorite quote from Claptrap?
Okay, so my favorite quote from Claptrap isn't even from Borderlands. It's from a Steam game called Poker Night 2 at the inventory. It's a game where they just have like guest characters show up and they play poker with each other. Claptrap was one of them. And it was a quote. It was like during a conversation where each character complaining about their companies. And Claptrap about to go like, "Oh, don't even get me started with Gearbox." And then it just, randomly switched to AI voice about how Gearbox is a great, healthy company and you should work for them. And then it's like, go back to Claptrap. Is like finishing what he's about to say. And I think the reason why I like that quote is because I like that sense of joke where a character is about to complain about a certain company and then they get silenced by said company and they don't even try to hide it. And also aged really well considering what the original voice actor and Gearbox happened between them. The original voice actor for Claptrap is David Edling. He only played Claptrap when he does voice acting, so yeah. But I know there was like controversy between both of them, which is why he didn't return for Borderlands 3 and I guess Fortnite.
All right, Chase, how about you? What is your favorite Claptrap quote?
So this is from a DLC that I haven't played, but I was reminding myself of all the Claptrap quotes that are even that he even says, because half the time either I tune him out or I listen to some of the funny things and they catch me off guard. The one that caught me off guard the most was at Tiny Tina's DLC for Borderlands 2. There's a quest where you apparently get dwarves drunk for Claptrap to steal their beards. Then you have to move. Then they walk into their own machinery, and then the quote after that is, "That kids is why you should never drink in mine." It caught me so off guard.
Yeah. I can see how that could.
This is right after one of the dwarves gets smashed. He says this exact quote, that you shouldn't drink in mine.
That's funny. So that's Tiny Tina's Wonderland is coming out on March 25th. So definitely take a look at that trailer if you guys haven't yet. The next thing we're going to talk about is GTA 5. So, to all of our worst wishes, GTA 5 got a PS5 port. Which is coming on the 15th of March. So, one of the first things I want to talk about is what is the lifespan going to be on this game? Why will this game not die?
This is a good topic. Honestly, I think it all comes down to money. GTA 5 probably brings in a lot of money. I haven't run the numbers, but probably brings in a lot of money for the company. And if it does, if it's not broke, don't fix it.
I suppose, yeah. I mean, if it's gonna be, if they have to port it to PS4 and now PS5, I mean, if people are wanting it that bad, I suppose if it's bringing Rockstar money, I mean, why even make another one?
This is true. And we'll get to this later, but will they make another one and when?
Right. Yeah. Totally. Yeah. We're gonna talk about that in just a moment. But yeah. So what is gonna be the lifespan of this game? When is it gonna die, or is or is it just gonna go on forever?
I think it's just the way things are added. I mean, a lot of cars and a lot of like the new businesses, they are really expensive. And, you know, they have shark cards, which is like how you get the in-game money. And it's either you grind out hours upon hours of like jobs, missions, heists, and all this other stuff,
Right.
or you can just take the shortcut and pay real money to buy these shark cards so you can get these businesses in-game. I mean, it's just, it unlocks more additional content that, you know, that's a lot more, you know, fun and enjoyable.
Yeah.
And it's either, you know, spend hours upon hours of your day just playing the same missions and other stuff to get minimal pay, or pay $20 for, you know, $1 million in in-game money. It's just kind of like a shortcut.
I feel like a lot of games are moving towards in-game purchases. I don't know if you guys remember playing just back in the day, you know, games on, you know, any Nintendo, you know, like 64, you know, DS. I mean, well, I guess even the DS had some in-game purchases, but like Game Boy, those weren't connected to the internet. There was no in-game purchases. You couldn't really get there wasn't really a currency other than like maybe like collect, you know, whatever the main currency of the game was, just that you get through just completing missions. But now I feel like a lot of games are moving over towards in-game currency, which is bringing in a lot of money for games like GTA, games like Fortnite, that type of thing. So I don't know. I don't know how I feel about the whole in-game currency thing. What do you guys think about the lifespan of this, Chase?
Honestly, I'm surprised it's still going. I mean, it's a good game. It's just I've seen so many bad DLCs, and like the music's not streamer friendly. So if you're live on Twitch or YouTube, you get copyright strike if you don't have the music on there. They added like a DLC with Dr. Dre, and that has copyright music in it too. And it's like, why you're in this game and you're not letting anyone have access to the music that you're like it's a lot of the game modes as well are very unbalanced, and the rules don't make that much sense. It's fun in the way of ragdoll physics. That's what I like about it.
Right.
And just goofing around with friends, blowing stuff up. But other than that, like the whole Grand Theft Auto part isn't really involved in the game too much.
So that's another thing that I'm kind of thinking about. A lot of games that are super popular today are popular because big name people stream them. I mean, not even so much big name people. That's how a lot of games, like that's how Fortnite got big. That's how Apex Legends got pretty big.
Yeah.
When Apex Legends was released, there was no advertisement for it whatsoever. It took off just based on its own community. And that's something that I don't understand about GTA is a lot of the stuff in GTA is copyright. So if you can't, you know, play it on stream, you can't, you know, record it onto YouTube. Where's this game getting its audience from? Where are people finding out about this game? Cole.
Well, I mean, GTA series is always a big series before GTA 5, so it has that to advantage. And also, don't forget, like, it's not just live streaming. People upload videos on Grand Theft Auto series. So you already got a big series like the Grand Theft Auto series. Like, don't forget, San Andreas is one of the best-selling video games of all time. So people are already familiar with GTA. And people don't just watch live streams. They sometimes just watch YouTube videos of their favorite content creators playing GTA 5.
Yeah, but even GTA 5 on YouTube, a lot of the stuff, especially now, can't even be uploaded because of the music stuff, unless they obviously mute.
Well, people edit out the music, though. That's the thing.
I see, okay.
And also, don't forget, some of these videos were uploaded before DMCA got even stricter. And also, sometimes people get away with it, and worse, they just get demonetized, which is for either, like, you know, trailing or sometimes copyright music, that kind of stuff. So, it's like, it got so big because GTA Online, it was always a big series. Online content, which helps with it too. It's like all three of those things helps with how big GTA series gotten.
For sure, yeah. So what are the changes that have come since, and like just GTA in general, from like 360 PS3 era to now? Like what are some of the changes that have been added? I know, Alec, you were talking about some of the stuff, some of the businesses and cars that they've added. But on top of that, have any of the mechanics changed? Like online play, those kinds of things. What's the deal with that?
They
I mean,
did add first person from Xbox 360 to Xbox One and also PC. That was a big change. Whether it was a good change or bad, like it's up to you. I don't really use the first person much, but it's good for a different angle, so to speak.
Okay.
I mean, if you want to talk about like changes from last gen to current gen right now, I got a lot of them because I've played, I think, maybe a month after online got released in 360. I mean, they removed a lot of like mechanics. I mean, for example, the mechanic that brings you your car, it used to drive the car to you. Now it just kind of spawns because there were too many issues with like the mechanic getting out of the car, then getting spooked, getting back in, and just driving off. So it kind of leaving you in the dust.
I would love.
I do remember some memes floating around about that in a while.
Yeah.
So, for sure.
And then like armored cars, they used to spawn in free roam, and you could get a little bit of money from it. Now they have one of the updates was free roam events, and they removed armored cars from that because they wanted to make room for the free roam events, which was like, doing certain challenges against other players in the free roam map.
Yeah. Cool. Does anybody else have anything to talk about with the changes and stuff?
Yeah, I mean, most of the changes that happen between later versions, it's just as simple as spell graphics, spell revolution, one spell. Well, you get GTA 1 at 60 frames per second, which is nice. And for the PC version, you can mod it. So there's that. And yeah, Lucy, I didn't really see to make changes. It's Lucy just as simple as the game's look at one battle.
Okay, yeah.
One of the things that I know hasn't changed in Rockstar's thing is their anti-cheat. I've lost one of my accounts to an anti-cheat by simply plugging in a regular controller. As far as I know, that's the only reason I got my account banned. And the worst part is, if that happens, the social club thing, which is their in-game how you connect to friends, links specifically to your account. So if you were to try to make a new account from the social club, you'd have to buy a new game.
That seems a bit odd.
So yeah, and you can't disconnect it. You can't get unbanned. I've called Rockstar and they've told me, yeah, we can't take off bans, no matter what. Yeah. But you see, if you go into an online lobby that's just in the open, it takes about 10 minutes for a hacker to join in, break the entire lobby.
Oh yeah, I want to add on to how much of a problem GTA Online has with hackers. But yeah, there's a huge problem with people spam chat and people just spawn items that they shouldn't have. And I also heard that they can just leak your IP, which is insane to think about. Mm-hmm. And I think I remember seeing a video of Rockstar taking aim on cheaters, and just oh man, this is from a 2013 article. I wonder how bad their aim is if they keep missing all these hackers and yet ban the innocent people. Mm-hmm. But yeah, it's really bad.
Yeah, of course. So, what do we think? Is there going to be a GTA 6?
I mean, they've confirmed it's in development.
Okay.
So it's going to happen, but is it going to be better or as good as GTA 5? We don't know.
I feel like with GTA 6, I hope we don't run into another Cyberpunk issue where everyone was super overhyped for this game, then as soon as it comes out, there's more bugs than an anthill.
Yeah. I heard that this game is gonna be a live service, so I'm afraid of that because it's always annoying to have here this unfinished game. We'll update it every now and then, and they also release it for a price oh man, this is not fun to have an unfinished game, and then we had to wait months and months for updates for it. And sometimes you had to pay for it too.
Right.
My biggest concern about GTA 6 would be that how big is it gonna be? Is it gonna run on everyone's systems correctly? And another worry is, I hope it's not gonna be another GTA 5 just copied and pasted, because I'm seeing a lot of games recently that they go, this is the next game. Let's take this from this game and this. And they just copy and paste the same thing, just add different textures, and bam, you have a new game.
Yeah, they'll take everyone's favorite mechanic from their games across the year and just slap it all into one game. I've kind of noticed that's been happening a little bit too. Which, I mean, to be fair, at least we know that they're thinking about what our favorite things were, I suppose.
I see it a lot in EA Sports too. EA Sports has a lot of, like, they change the year so they update something, but it's basically the same game with different characters.
It's like Madden. They update the roster and that's kind of it.
Yeah, I mean that's how like they do that with all the sport games. I'm obviously not more of a football, I'm more of a soccer, and FIFA they do the same thing. So how about you guys over here? What do we think about GTA 6?
Yeah, so I've heard like a lot of speculation about like when it will come out. I think the consensus among people online, or at least from what I saw, is that people are thinking late 2023, early 2024. Now, how accurate this is, we don't know. It's still a whiles away. So really all we can do is speculate.
I think it'd be around 4 to 5 years, maybe.
So is this something that I have not heard anything about a GTA 6. Is this something that they just recently, like, yeah, it's in development, like, we just started it? Or has it been like we've been thinking about this for a few months, few years, whatever. What is the time?
I feel like it's been talked about. I've heard it, like, years ago. So, like, people have gone, like, oh, I can't wait for GTA 6. I've heard it's going to be, like, America. And I'm like, that's a lot of land.
Right.
You sure you're gonna make a game about America?
Right.
Oh boy.
So last question for GTA. What is your guys' favorite character from the story?
Franklin. He's like the most stable, and I feel like he's the most. I mean, technically all of them are killers, but like you kind of feel bad for him the most since like he kind of stuck in a tough situation. And also, like looking up a cutscene, I would like looking at a moment from Franklin. And there was a moment where Franklin was just like talking to a dog on the mission, and he was just having a conversation with that dog, and it was a pretty nice mission. It wasn't even Chop; it was like a different dog too. But yeah, that was like a fun moment just to him having a conversation, understanding the dog.
Yeah, I was gonna say I like Franklin the most as well. I think he's really cool, but besides that, he's got that like I don't care attitude while still like pursuing what he wants. And I think that's respectable.
Yeah, for sure.
Chop the dog. Just kidding. I think I'm gonna be different here and I'm not gonna say Franklin or Michael or Trevor. I'm gonna say Laszlo because he is kind of the pathetic clown of the story. I mean, every time you run into him, he's always kind of doing his own little shenanigans, and then a character will kind of just get him in trouble, and it's just all of his interactions with the characters are really funny, and it's like, and the same thing online too, like when you see him he's just a pathetic clown.
All right, Chase, how about you? Favorite character from GTA 5?
My favorite character is Lester, but only because he is fun to make fun of. Every time you see him in like GTA Online when you're doing your heist or when he's talking, I don't know, to me he's just so ewy that he's fun to make like fun of.
Right.
Yeah.
All right. I personally have not played any of the GTAs. I was not allowed to as a child, and I just haven't grown interest into it as of right now. But I have seen a lot of memes about Franklin, so I probably will just be one of those guys and just say Franklin too, because that's really one of the only characters that I know.
Like the Lamar Franklin conversation.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
right to the house. Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Did you see that the voice actors actually
I
did
saw
that in
that.
person?
Yeah.
I thought that was incredible.
That was
It's really cool to
I
see.
see that.
Yeah, I'll show you. I'll find it. I'll send it. I'll find it. I'll send it.
I always love when voice actors like love the characters. Like it's always nice to see like I really love playing this character and just voice act this character this day. It's always nice to see.
Yeah, I've seen a lot of different versions of that scene, with people adding in different characters and like just adding out a bunch of just wild like mods to it too, where just weird stuff happens. It's really funny. So, yes, GTA 5, the PS5 port is coming out on March 15th. So for those of you who was able to get their hands on a PS5, I hope you guys are all excited for that. Next topic is going to be Uncharted, which this movie came out February 18th, but it's still relatively new enough that we could talk about it. Which everyone got kind of a shock when this trailer was released, because we saw kind of a familiar face from a couple of really popular movies that have come out over the last couple of years, which is Tom Holland. So it's a bit different. So in the game, the voice actor of Nathan Drake is Nolan North, who has done a lot of other stuff as well.
Yes.
I personally love his voice, and his character appearance was Johnny Knoxville. So, based off of knowing those two people, what do you guys think about Tom Holland playing this role?
Okay, so here's my thoughts. I love Tom Holland. He's great at Spider-Man, and he seems like a great actor. He sounds nothing like Nolan North, and looks nothing like Nathan Drake, or I guess Johnny Knoxville. It feels like it's a case of casting a popular celebrity, not because he's a good fit for the role, but because he's a popular celebrity. Same issue with Mark Wahlberg playing as Sully, which is why a lot of people have problem with celebrity voice acting anime roles. Which I think, celebrities can still be good voice actors, of course.
Right.
But it's a case where if you just pick a celebrity and it's like, oh, I'm the celebrity voice. And it's like, it's an issue where it doesn't feel like they pick Tom Holland just because he's good Nathan Drake. They pick him because he's popular and they want to get people attention.
Right.
And it's like, he's not a good fit for Nathan Drake. And I thought, for a while, I thought Tom Holland was just going to be young Nathan Drake. And then we switched actors. Years could be used in the future, but no, from know of, he's still should be one of the same age as Nathan Drake, and is also, as I said before, Mark Wahlberg is not a good fit for Sully. He's just he's a fine actor, I'm pretty sure, but he's not Sully.
Okay, yeah. Other thoughts on this?
My thoughts are that Tom Holland, in my opinion, he's kind of got a baby face, so it's hard to see him in these high action things. Even in Spider-Man, even in the action scenes, and it shows his face. It's kind of it's a little off-putting for me at least. But if he can make it work, it is what it is.
Okay, yeah. Chaser, Alex, you guys.
In my opinion, I think Tom Holland to me feels too innocent for a role like Nathan Drake. I feel like the punny, witty, funny guy who gets himself into a lot of trouble doesn't hit me as a Tom Holland playing. I'm sure he's fine in the movie, but it doesn't feel right. I feel like someone who's more either typecasted for that might have a better chance. Not saying he doesn't, but at the same time, I feel like he's just in my eyes too innocent, because I've seen him in Spider-Man and that's all I've seen him in so far, but he's got that face that just, I don't know, doesn't scream, hi, I'm the witty, punny one-liner guy.
So for me, Nolan North has played a lot of funny, witty characters.
Yeah.
And that's how I will always see Nathan Drake. I'm played through all of them. And I haven't seen the movie yet. I watched some of the trailer, but it didn't sit right with me. I will agree. Do you have anything to add?
Yeah, I think Tom Holland's just way too associated too much with Spider-Man, and I think it was kind of a situation where I don't think they could find anyone that looked like Johnny Knoxville but also sounded like Nolan North. That kind of situation where there was no good person available for that, so they kind of did the next best thing and get, a top actor that is just kind of recognizable from something else.
Yeah. So I feel like we're gonna run into one of those issues where we're gonna be watching this movie and we're just not gonna stop seeing Spider-Man.
Yeah.
So, what do we think about the plane falling scene? I feel like this is something that needs to be talked about, because it was in the trailer, and it's obviously in the movie. What do we think?
Okay, so I saw the scene, and there were a couple of things I was watching. I was like, there was a scene where it shows Mark Wahlberg on the plane part. He looks like he doesn't belong there. He looks like, I accidentally snuck on set. Am I supposed to be doing something? And then there was a part that bugged me, because when Tom Holland is jumping from paracel to paracel, gravity and the wind should take him out. You shouldn't be able to just hop, skip, jump to the next thing while mid-air. There is a plane moving.
Right. I think that's another problem with making things that aren't live action. Sometimes there are physics that may not exist in the non-live action that you'd think should exist in a live action, but don't. then it just makes it look kind of funny.
I would say though, let's see, it probably at least for like the Uncharted games, like obviously you got to break your sense of disbelief sometimes, but it's definitely like, you know, kind of trying to be realistic in like, you know, you have like these crazy set pieces and it show like a human barely surviving it. I really enjoyed the plane scene in Uncharted 3, despite being the weakest entry in the series. So, like, I heard the movie wasn't that good, so I don't know the context the plane scene would lose in the movie. I would say though I kind of prefer the train set piece in Uncharted 2, but I guess that one's a little bit more iconic, but who knows? Because I know the context for Uncharted 3 with the plane, it makes sense. I don't know the context for the movie, but I'm assuming it's something similar or something that kind of makes sense. But yeah, they added that in because, you know, it was an iconic set piece in the games.
Right. So another thing I'm thinking is, what is the context of this movie? Where does this sit in the story mode of the games? Like, are we talking about kind of like a summary of all the games here, or are we talking about where they're just, you know, pulling random scenes from the games that people really liked and putting them into a movie? Or does this movie have nothing to do with the games?
From what I heard, it's somewhat based on Uncharted 3, but not really. It just loses elements from, I think, all the Uncharted games, but it's like mostly based on 3. But it's like, it doesn't like star the main villain from 3 or any of the side characters. It's just trying to do its own thing with these characters with some random set pieces, which is weird because I feel like you could just adapt any of the stories from the original games and that would be good enough. People like the story in all 4 games. So trying to do your own thing and feeling at it, it's just, you gotta probably find story right there.
Mm-hmm. And Uncharted 3 was Drake's deception, was it not?
Drake's deception was Uncharted 2, I believe.
2, okay.
It was, I think, okay, I forgot the subtitle for the first game. It might have just been Uncharted 1.
I think it's just Uncharted, yeah.
But I do know The Thief's End is Uncharted 4, so I forget what was the subtitle for 3.
I think 3 was Drake's deception.
It might be. I'm looking at it real quick.
I didn't really. So for a while, I hadn't played the Uncharted games until last year, my sophomore year of college.
Okay, yeah, it was Drake's deception. My bad.
And 3 was, but when 3 came out, I played the heck out of the multiplayer. I thought the multiplayer for that game was pretty good, but like in terms of like story, they were really memorable, I must say, which is probably why it's gonna be pretty tough for me to watch the movie, just because like I'm gonna be like, okay, I hope it's not gonna be one of those things where like, yeah, for those of you who played the game, that's not what happened. That's not exactly what happened. Like, I'm gonna have a hard time trying not to compare it to the games, and I think that's where I'm gonna struggle watching this.
I would say though, my bad, I forget. 3 was the weakest in terms of story. So it was like out of all the stories and games, 3 is the weakest. But like, you know, it's still a fun game. It's still fun to play.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is definitely gonna have the bad case of the which is better, the book or the movie. But in this case, the game or the movie.
Absolutely, yeah. Yeah, that's gonna be a topic that's gonna come up a little bit later as well. You're kind of like predating these things that we're gonna be talking about here. So yeah, spoilers. But yeah, so next big question: Lara Croft versus Nathan Drake. So let's switch gears and talk about. Has there been a Tomb Raider movie? Yeah, there has, right?
There's been multiple Tomb Raider movies.
Yeah.
Lara
Okay,
Croft.
so again, I haven't seen the movies, but I played the games. So let's first talk about the games. Lara Croft versus Nathan Drake. Who's better? Who do we think is better based on the games?
I grew up with Nathan Drake, so I have more attachment to him. So I think I like him as a kid better. But you know, Lara Croft, like you know, there's 2 different versions of Lara Croft. Like I'm referring to the original Lara Croft. She is pretty cool. I mean, like she just fights dinosaurs in some of the games and survives with just 2 pistols. So that's pretty cool.
Yeah, Alec, Ryan, what do you guys think?
I think Nathan Drake is more human. It's more relatable, but I'm more of a Lara Croft fan just in general.
Yeah.
Because she's an all-around baddie, you know. She's cool.
Oh, absolutely.
They're both cool, but like, Lara Croft is a baddie.
You never really think of female characters in like more of like treasure game roles, like treasure adventure game roles.
Yeah, but she does it. She does it well.
She makes it work.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Alex, what do you think? Do you have any thoughts on
I
this?
mean, I've played the Tomb Raider reboot
Okay.
quite a while ago, like years ago. It was pretty forgettable though, and I mean, yeah. So I did have kind of like my first exposure to this, to Lara Croft, but I think just Nathan Drake's personality wins me over. His witty and smart humor is that's the kind of characters I really like in games
Right.
and in general.
Cool, yeah.
I had to pick between the two. I haven't played either games, but I'm not sure if Lara Croft has any like character development or character build. Like, does she say anything in the games? I mean, I'm sure in the newest one she does. Or
I know
don't
it's been a while since I've played any of the games.
But I feel like Nathan Drake is more of a you get to know the character as you go, which makes you want to not see them die, so you try your hardest not to die in the game. So you kind of bond with the character or immerse yourself.
Right.
I do know that, Lara Croft is more alone in most of her games, so she doesn't have much to banter. In the version of Lara Croft, it's mostly a serious, cool type character, where, she only says a couple lines, but they're pretty cool. While the reboot Lara Croft is more human, trying to survive in this scenario that realistically, she would die, but, barely surviving in the end.
Right.
Also, something I want to mention is Lara Croft. I didn't know this actually before a little research, but Lara Croft actually found Bigfoot at one point. That's just something. Yeah, this is something I thought I'd mention. Is that points toward her? I don't know, but it's cool.
I don't know.
Then she
I have
shoots
to say,
Bigfoot.
I don't know what I think. Finding a German World War II sub or finding Bigfoot. I don't know.
Why not both?
Yeah, right.
Well, one of them doesn't exist, and she found it somehow.
Right. So, if we're gonna be going off of first exposure, this is a tough one because Lara Croft has been around longer than Nathan Drake has. But if we're going off first exposure, definitely Lara Croft.
Mm-hmm.
Let's switch gears and talk about movie. I have not seen the Tomb Raider movies, obviously, because I didn't even know that they were a thing.
Apparently, they're really awful.
Yeah, I heard.
Is that what we're
They're pretty bad.
Okay, so then maybe this is a question for maybe after I see the movie, I'll ask myself this question. But judging off the trailer, if we're gonna be going off of your input on that, I'm gonna say Nathan Drake for the movies.
Mm-hmm.
So awesome. Switching gears here, obviously the Uncharted movie came out on February 18th, so it's already out. So that's super cool. Can't wait. I really can't wait to see it now. Let's talk about Destiny 2 a little bit. So the new DLC for Destiny 2 came out on February 22nd, which is titled Witch Queen, which is obviously talking about Savathun. So for those of you who are not familiar with Destiny 2, it is a first-person shooter, adventure-style game that you can, customize your character, customize your armor, weapons, whichever you use. It's kind of like a collection game almost. I think it's a lot of fun. This game is always underrated a lot, but this DLC has been a long time coming. This was supposed to come out last November. So let's talk about the new DLC and a little bit about it. Let's just start with the new legendary difficulty mode. They came out with a new style for the campaign that has a second difficulty. So you can play through the campaign the first time just normal. There's no light restrictions, there's no weapon restrictions, those types of things. But then they have a legendary mode that can get you more powerful weapons. There's exotics at the end, that kind of thing. Chase, I want to hear a little bit from you about this because I from my understanding, you have played this a little bit.
So I've played through both the normal and the legendary. I went through the normal story first, and it's really easy. And then I went through the legendary stuff with one other friend, and I think the level difficulty scales. And from what I've heard, it's better to play legendary either solo or with 3 people.
Okay.
Because I played it with one other person. It took us so long to get from the starting mission to the last mission, but the reward for the gear you get, I think, was completely worth it. You get the choice between 2 different exotics as far as I saw when I beat it.
I believe it is 2 for each class. Yes,
Yeah.
you get to pick one.
And the exotic that I picked is really helpful for my Titan fire subclass.
Yep.
It really makes healing myself very easy.
Nice.
Okay, one thing I want to say, like Destiny 2 is not like an underrated game. It's like one of the biggest shooters out there. But anyway, for someone who doesn't play Destiny 2 at all, I mean, I do like when games introduce new difficulty modes, since you get a new experience to play those games again at a higher difficulty. And for games like Destiny 2, we can upgrade weapons and get your characters. It can really balance it out with how hard it is. So it's like you can finally test out your max out stats, or at least I'm gonna max out stats at like the hardest difficulty with your friends. So that's kind of cool to see.
So Alec and Ryan, I know you guys aren't like too big in Destiny or might not have played it before, but did you guys watch the trailer for the new DLC at all?
I saw bits, yeah. There's something I was gonna ask actually. Is this new difficulty? Like, is this new to this DLC? Has this not happened before?
This has not been a thing before, no.
Oh,
I played every campaign, like story mode that has come out for each DLC, and this is a brand new mechanic that they've added in.
I feel like that's a surprise to me. Like, even somebody who doesn't play Destiny 2 very much I feel like that's something that should have been a thing a while ago.
So they slowly been adding certain. So with the last DLC, the raid that came out was called Vault of Glass. And because the Vault of Glass raid was a reused raid, actually from Destiny 1. So a lot of people who played Destiny 1 were like, okay, yeah, the only thing that's new for this raid is going to be champions. Which is what they do for they call it Legend and Master, usually. So the Legendary difficulty is like really new for campaign specifically, but they've been slowly adding in more difficult activities for really hardcore players. Like for me, Destiny 2 got really stale for a while. Because everything
too
was
easy?
It was almost, yeah. Where like I would play all the new content, but like I wouldn't go back and play anything because it was just the same thing all over again. But they started adding more different difficulties to stuff like Legend and Master Lost Sectors. You can get certain exotics from them if you complete them solo. You're not guaranteed an exotic, obviously. But so this Legendary difficulty for this campaign mode kind of does not come as a surprise to me.
Okay.
It is a new mechanic that none of us really thought that. A lot of people who may not be like as hardcore into the game may not have thought that it was coming, but I think it is a neat addition to the campaign for sure. But like for you guys, for not really having much experience with Destiny, what was your thoughts on some of the clips that you saw for the new DLC trailer?
I mean, the trailer did look pretty cool. Like, it kind of did make me want to go back and play Destiny again, even though Destiny 1 I didn't really like too much. I mean, just a little bit too grindy for me, and then I just didn't want to play the DLC at all. And then I tried Destiny 2 when it was free on Battle.net when Destiny was on there, and I got like maybe an hour into it, and I kind of just dropped it because it just wasn't interesting to me. And maybe that was just because I played Destiny with friends on Xbox, and then Destiny 2, they weren't there, and I was just kind of like, this isn't really fun anymore. But yeah, I definitely the trailer kind of made me feel like I wanted to give it another shot, maybe.
Okay.
Yeah, if anything, I would probably say that same thing. Like, the trailer, it looked cool for sure, and it made me at least think about going back to the game. Am I going to? Maybe.
Right.
But
so I do think that so Destiny 1, it was okay for me specifically. I kind of played it a little while after it came out because I hadn't gotten really into Destiny, but I did grind through all of the DLCs and just mostly played the story. I didn't really grind out most of the collectibles and whatever. Destiny 2, I've been a day oneer. I was like, yeah, this game, the first game was good enough. Let's play it too, and I got really into it for a while. And there'd be time periods where I drop it and come back, but I'm really excited to play the new DLC. I'm just gonna kind of touch on. Obviously, there's a new raid that came out on March 5th, so Saturday. Contest mode was activated at 2 p.m. Central, I believe, and then it was. I heard that it was pretty difficult. So out of World's First Race, which is with the use of contest mode, whichever whichever clan or team finishes the raid first gets like a title, which is awesome. So this year, not this year, but for this raid, much like Vault of Glass, Elysium did win the contest race, the world's first race, which they won for Vault of Glass as well. They finished the raid in 9 hours. Started right as it opened, and they finished in 9 hours.
That's crazy.
Which Datto's team, which is another big Destiny streamer, YouTuber, it was within minutes. It was within minutes that they kind of lost, so that was pretty crushing for them. And then there was a lot of connection issues as well. Destiny 2 servers, since they're not with their big publisher anymore, their servers are on their own now, so they can get a little overloaded, especially when a big activity gets released or a new DLC gets released. It could take 4 to 8 hours to just load into the game. So there was a lot of connection issues with the new raid because so many people were trying to load into it at the same time, and they just weren't ready for it. And then I heard, Chase, it took you guys quite a while to.
I was on a live stream yesterday on my Twitch account, and it took I was streaming for 6 hours, and within those 6 hours, the first part of the raid took us about 4 to 5 hours to finish.
Right. Raids are an incredible time commitment. When the Leviathan raid was out, you had to commit 5 to 6 hours to this raid. If you were playing with a LFG team or looking for a group team, just a team of just randoms that you'd find just to fill, it's a huge time commitment. If you played with a clan and you guys were all coordinated and ready and you guys knew the raid very well, you weren't teaching it to anybody, it's more of a 1 to 2 hour commitment. But everything in this game is a time commitment. You need to dedicate a lot of time to this game. Even if you don't keep up on some of your XP challenges, like your bounties or whatever, if you get behind, it's gonna take you a minute to catch up. I was behind by 3 seasons, and it took me 2 weeks over winter break. It took me 2 weeks of playing 8 to 10 hours a day to get caught up on 3 seasons worth of stuff. It was not fun. So I can imagine the raid was incredibly difficult, and it's a huge time commitment. So if you don't have 24 hours to spend on day one learning the encounters and the mechanics of the raid, it's not as fun. So I kind of want to go into more of talking about a little bit about the buyouts here, because Sony just acquired Bungie, which means they have Destiny now. There have been a lot of predictions on what Sony will do with Bungie. Two of my speculations is a Destiny 3.
Mm-hmm.
I personally, with how much they are milking out Destiny 2, I think the Witch Queen DLC, the end of the Witch Queen DLC, if they want to make a Destiny 3, is the perfect time to do it. We kind of put a cap on a huge piece of the story. Coming back from we're now finishing content from Season of Arrivals. There are things that were touched on in Season of Arrivals in the previous DLC that is finally being talked about now. So, what are we thinking about a Destiny 3? Do you think is this something that should happen? Is this something that we want to see, or is this something that maybe it's time that we just keep porting? We just make Destiny 2 another GTA 5.
I heard from playing a Destiny 2 fans, from you guys, that a Destiny 3 isn't happening. I'm over the line that it will eventually happen. It's not a matter of what, it's a matter of when. Now, in case we don't get a Destiny 3, then most we probably gonna get a new game made by Bungie. Probably gonna be no shooter, since they never do any genre, because I don't think Bungie did do Halo Wars. But other than that, Bungie is more for shooters. So we're probably going to get another shooter series. But, that's what I'm thinking. Either Destiny 3 or just a new Bungie IP.
Cool.
My thoughts on Destiny 3, I've been told by, I think, friends, and they've said that Bungie has stated that they're going to just continue with Destiny 2 instead of going up to Destiny 3. I don't know how much truth is behind that, because I haven't really done that much research into it. But I don't disagree that they could just use Destiny 2. They've already put Destiny 1 content into Destiny 2. So why wouldn't they just make Destiny 2 their Destiny 3?
Okay, interesting. So we're gonna head into our last life. We didn't get to touch on all the games that have come out recently. We picked a few, but I would like to hear what game you're either most excited for, or you're happy that was released recently. I'm just gonna start with Ryan. What has been is going to be or is your favorite game that has come out recently or going to come out recently?
You know, I feel a little basic for saying this because we talked about it. It's not something we haven't talked about, but after looking into Tiny Tina's Wonderland, I think that's the game I'm going to be looking forward to, yeah.
Awesome. Alec?
I guess a game that, well, we don't even know when it's coming out, Overwatch 2.
Okay, all right, yeah, I've heard things about
I am on the Overwatch team here at Whitewater, and I guess the general kind of feeling around it right now, amongst at least the team, is kind of, we don't really care.
Right.
And that's kind of just because of the Activision Blizzard lawsuits and the fact that we've been kind of waiting for almost 2 years now.
Right.
I mean, and we got like no news from it, and we got like Blizzard saying, in January, we're saying, we'll give you guys more news throughout this year. It's March. Where's the news?
Right.
So it's kind of like, it's not really something I'm excited for or kind of like a little happy about, but it's just kind of like
anticipation.
Yeah.
So, all right, Cole,
for
real
me,
fast, what is something that you're looking forward to or that you're playing right now?
Okay, so for me, I'm looking forward to Final Fantasy Stranger of Paradise. It's a Souls-like game, but in a Final Fantasy setting. And at first, I was afraid of it, but when I played the game, it's actually still pretty fun. And honestly, it's a pretty fun game, both ironic and unironic, so I'm looking forward to that. And even though I haven't played Elden Ring or Horizon Forbidden West, I'm pretty happy that those games are out and that they are doing well. And you know, it's finally nice to see Elden Ring get released since how long it took for that game. And then, you know, those other games coming out in the future I'm looking forward to. Games that I don't think it's coming out this year, but I'm looking forward to God of War Ragnarok. I might be wrong. Someone could just tell me like it coming out holidays. Who knows? But yeah.
Yeah.
Either way.
Yep.
I guess another game. I don't know if I'm looking forward to it since I haven't played it. But I guess I'm looking forward to Multi Forces. In case you don't know, it's like a Warner Brothers Smash Bros. Platform fighter. So it's kind of cool to play as all these, you know, different Warner Brothers characters, which include Cartoon Network, Adult Swim, Looney Tunes, DC Heroes. I'm looking forward to that. Hopefully it plays good. But yeah.
Okay, Chase, how about you? Real quick, game that you're
Tiny Tina's Wonderland is one of them, and another one is We Were Here Forever, which is a sequel to the other sequels of We Were Here, which is a co-op game involving communicating through puzzles via a walkie-talkie, but only one person can talk at a time. If two people talk, there's nothing that goes through the radio.
Okay. Awesome, yeah. So for me, I am it's came out already, but I'm looking forward to playing the new DLC. I haven't even acquired it yet, so I'm really looking forward to that. But yeah, so that has been, that's all the time we have for today. So this has been the last live show on 91.7 The Edge, WSUW Whitewater. And thank you guys for listening.